Hey, if you like my content, please consider subscribing, drop a like on my video, and share it on social media. Thanks. So I received this video on my Facebook a few weeks ago, and it's a woman ranting about black people and why they are not equal to white people, I guess, or something to that effect. I'm not entirely sure what the big complaint is about because, well, we'll get to that in a few minutes. Of course, across the top of the screen it says all lives will matter when black lives matter. Yeah, okay. And then she's talking about this quote. She says it's the most disturbing quote that she received. It says, "Black people don't care about their lives, so they are more willing to hurt people." And she's talking about that when she starts off here. So let's take a look and see what she has to say. I'll go through this and, of course, analyze it.
All the comments that I've received from my last post, this one hit me the most. And I'll tell you why. You see this timeline up here? 246 years of slavery, 89 years of segregation, and then 1954 today is 66 years of so-called freedom. And PSA, the people that were segregated back in there, still alive today, still living in those segregated areas. And PSA, these are the poorest neighborhoods in the country that are being gentrified by white people.
Okay, so first point is gentrification. What's wrong with gentrification? You have people move into an area and improve it. Now this causes a lot of the poor people to relocate, so why don't they relocate to a better situation? Maybe they can't, maybe they don't have enough money to. Well, whose fault is that? Black people are able to do all of the things in society that I am able to do as a white man. I'm not keeping black people from doing anything. I know that there is this belief, and I'm sure that she believes the same thing, given her point of view, that by the sheer existence of men, white men existing, that black and minority people, so-called minority people, even though they outnumber whites, don't get the same opportunities. Yeah, that's not true. I've been showing images of prominent black people on the left-hand side of the screen. There's a young black man on that side of the screen who is nodding along with her, agreeing with what she's saying. I'm covering him up with these images of prominent black people. If what she's saying about black people not being able to do what white people can do because they've only had 66 years of the same opportunity, then either no or very few black people would be able to do the things that these men and women I'm showing you have done. They've done more to gain prestige and money than I've been able to do in my life. So it's ridiculous to think that in 66 years people cannot achieve great things. They can. Let's see what else she has to say here.
So if you know basic math, this is about 401 years of being told you suck, you can't build up, but you can work for us on our plantation.
That's not it's not 401 years. You said there's 66 years of equality. So that drops it way down from 401 years. And on top of that, you know, the Native Americans had black slaves, believe it or not. And you know what else? The black people in Africa have black slaves. So today they do. And they did back then as well. So yeah, you're way off. Speaking of Native Americans, you know, the Native Americans came to North America thousands of years before white people even evolved. And we'll talk about that later. But when the white people came from Europe to North America, the natives were using stone, bone, and wooden tools. They were in the Stone Age. Yet the Europeans had gunpowder and sailing ships. So yeah, it's the white people holding everybody back. That's the problem. Yep.
That's 401 years of being falsely accused of crimes they did not commit and being racially profiled. That's 401 years white people had to build up themselves. But yet you want people of color to do it in 66 years. while they're still being targeted.
Say that.
That's 401 years of oppression, which brings on depression and crime and violence. And anecdotes are not data. So when Black lives finally matter, then all lives will matter.
Okay, so 401 years. She keeps talking about this 401 years, and it's not 401 years like I just said. It's what, 345 years or something? Which is less. And if you count off the years before this place actually became a country, then it's even fewer years than that. And then you can add in all sorts of other evidence to debunk what she's saying. But the one thing I'm going to focus on right now is the time. She wants to talk about time. Black people have been here in North America for 401 years, and they have been slaves for over 300 of those years. Okay, let's say that that's correct, and that that is what's holding them back. Supposedly, what's holding them back. Why don't we go ahead and look at a I don't know. Maybe we look at a timeline of humanity instead. How long have humans been around? This article claims they've been around for 300,000 years. That modern humans evolved 300,000 years ago. The more conventional view today is 200,000 years. Humans only evolved about 200,000 years ago. Modern form of humans only evolved about 200,000 years ago. Okay. How about this other article over here? Well, modern humans have existed for roughly 200,000 years. All right, so humans have been around for 200,000 years. They evolved in Africa. They came to existence in Africa. How long have white people been around? 8,000 years. Europeans evolved to have white skin starting 8,000 years ago. 8,000 years. When did white people evolve? 8,000 years. Okay, well, let's say it's not just white people. Let's say it's just Caucasians in general. Well, let's take a look at that. Humans left Africa 40,000 years ago. So when they left Africa, they were black. They didn't evolve into Caucasians. And I see people who don't even know this. I've seen people posting, well, why are they called Caucasians? Where did Caucasians come from? It's like, dude, I learned this when I was in school. Where have you been? They left Africa 40,000 years ago. Caucasians come from the Caucasus Mountains. It's a part of Asia where people evolved lighter colored skin. It wasn't white skin. No, you got Arabs. The Arab people came from the Caucasus Mountains. Later on, as they moved north, they developed into white people. According to what we saw there 8,000 years ago. I had an anthropology teacher in college claim that white people evolved 30,000 years ago. I've seen other postings say that it's been 20,000 years or 15,000 years. It doesn't matter. Humans left Africa 40,000 years ago. That gives you at least 160,000 years to get your act together. 160,000 years as compared to, I'll just give you 40,000. You had 5 times as long to become prominent and dominant on the planet. And white people are sitting there going, yeah, we figured out how to run everything and do everything and make everything work for the betterment of humanity in general, and we share that with you, and then you don't take advantage of that, and somehow it's our fault. And as far as saying that, oh, well, it's people that have come to this country who did it. How do you know? How do you know it's people who came to this country who did this? The whole notion that, look, I have, okay, we'll give her the 401 years. Let's just say my ancestors landed on the North American continent 401 years ago, and they started building wealth from that day forward. And it's been a straight line to me since then, which it hasn't been. That's not how ancestry works. Your family tree spreads out as you go farther back in time. My grandmother immigrated here 100 years ago from Eastern Europe, where she was so poor. She was so poor she went for days without eating. Her ancestors were slaves. Yes, I have many ancestors who are prominent. I have aristocracy in my ancestry. I have the founding fathers in my ancestry. I had very wealthy ancestors in the United States in the 1800s. But not all of my ancestors were well-to-do, you know, they landed on North America 400 years ago and said, well, hey, what do you know? I have a pocket full of gold, and I'm just going to make that grow into more gold, and I'm just going to pass that down to my children, pass that down to my children, pass that down to my children, and so on and so forth. I have nothing. I've been given nothing from my family. I'm not going to get any inheritance. My grandmother, who immigrated here from Eastern Europe, her husband died in the 1950s, and she married a much younger man who outlived her, and he left everything to his sister. Everything that they had, he left to his sister, who I don't think is alive still, but I didn't see a dime. She had children, so I think that she left everything that she got from my grandmother, her brother, to her children. And then on my mother's side, her parents had 6 children. They had 6 children, and they were working class people. So I'm getting nothing from that inheritance there. And I have 3 siblings that I have to, anything that I get, I have to split with 3 siblings. So you think that I have like this vast buildup of wealth here? You think that I have this vast buildup of support to just go ahead and allow me to launch myself into the future, and that black people don't have that? No, I don't have anything to prop myself up with. And if you want to talk about, oh, well, this is what's leading to crime. This is what's leading to crime because the black people are they're the lower class. They're being oppressed, right? Like she said in the end, they're being oppressed. They're being depressed. Whatever. You have the same opportunity I have. I came up in a working class family with very little money. I was poor. I've been poor most of my adult life, and here I am trying to make a buck in this world, and I can't even get 10 views on this video. So yeah, I get so much handed to me because my ancestors were free 400 years ago. Give me that crap. You choose your own fate. Now I've been showing this whole time these prominent black people on the screen, not because I want to downplay anybody who isn't famous and black but doing well, but these are the ones that you recognize. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of black people out there in the world. They own their own business, they're making $200,000 a year, they're doing it fine, but they're not famous, or they're maybe even making more. There's probably black people out there making millions of dollars every year, but they're just not famous people. So if I showed their faces up here on the screen, you wouldn't recognize them. But yeah, this woman needs to understand history, anthropology. That's what is going on here with all of this stuff, is you need to understand history and anthropology. If you're going to go out and act a fool and commit crimes and not get your act together, not get your life together, that's on you. The system may be leaning against you, but it's not totally oppressing you. It was at one time, but it's not anymore. It hasn't been for, like she says, 66 years. Nobody's being oppressed anymore in this country. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.